the next girl I date, whether I know it or not, hopefully will be my wife. And I always get shit for like being that way and being like, I don't want to like, I know that girl, I'm not going to date her. Like, I don't even want to waste the time going to talk to her. Like, it's just funny because it's like the one night stand is like, you feel horrible after.
You feel horrible.
In my case, I felt horrible a handful of times, and it's like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of this? Like, I don't want to, and I'll get like shit for it. I'll get shit from some of the guys. It's all like in good faith, but it's like I'll get shit for like not wanting to go and do all that.
Yeah.
And wanting to just like find a real connection with someone, and I'm just like, dude, it's just what I'm gonna do, and your opinion now, it just doesn't really matter to me. Another funny thing I wanted to bring up too about the drinking and like social interaction and stuff. It's like, I used to think like there's obviously that like classic like stigma of like, like get loosen up, few beers, few drinks, like, talk to girls better or whatever. And I've started to realize this like last like 6 to 8 months that like I'm way more like fun and like happy to be around and more entertaining and more like funny, I guess, when I'm not drunk. Like when I'm like 1 or 2 beers, like that's like where I'm the best. Like I can, I can have a good conversation and be normal and not fucking ridiculous. And every single time that I've gotten to a point where I was like, I knew the next day that I was too drunk that night before, nothing good has ever come from it. It's always been like a regretful decision, or like, I shouldn't have said that to her, or like, that was a mistake. So it's like, I don't know, dude. I'm just slowly drifting from alcohol.
There's a lot of thoughts. There's a Bible verse, Romans 2:15. It says, they demonstrate that God's law is written on their hearts for their own conscience of thoughts either accuse them or tell them they are doing right. And it's the same thing you said I've experienced and I've heard people talk about. When people have one night stands, they like, it's so funny because it's hyped up. Like, it's like, oh, you got hooked up with this chick or whatever. Yeah. Every person I've ever had a real deep personal conversation with told me that they felt in some way it was wrong. They knew. It's written on their hearts. Yeah. Which is funny. But second of all, I have a really good friend, Lucas, a Christian friend of mine, and he said a quote that's one of my favorite quotes ever. And he said, I don't like drinking because it makes me not confident. And it was my favorite quote ever because it's like the opposite of what everyone else says. But the way alcohol works, your brain gets drunk in sections. So everyone says like, I'm only going to drink a couple beers tonight. But your reasonable, logical decision-making brain, part of the brain is the first part that gets drunk. That's why when you get drunk, you drink more beers, and then you slowly lose motor functions. You lose like hand motor functions, and then you lose body motor functions. That's like when girls or guys start falling over, and then your body makes you pass out or black out, because if you go beyond blacking out, you lose organ function. If you lose organ function, you die. But it's funny because, so like the idea, I don't know if not it's funny, but the idea of like drinking makes me confident is that you have a part of your brain that's like anxious or nervous because you're not that great at talking to strangers. Yeah. And so you drink that part of the brain to turn off. But everything along with that is you're literally just turning. It's like if I said, hey, you can go play a sport, but you can't use your right arm. And you'd be like, oh, why? Like, I needed my right arm. So it's like, when you say I feel better as myself, it makes complete sense because you're literally turning your brain off. The only thing alcohol helps you with is turning off your fear of what others think. But in reality, if you just get over that one fear, there's no reason why you'd ever should be more confident. It's like being more confident playing sports when you're injured. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird thing. Like it really is. And like I said, I'm getting to a stage now where I'm like, this isn't, doing it for me anymore. I'm almost like less, I think that I'm less dope when I'm drunk.
Bro, that's a good, one of the best feelings you can have to feel less cool when you're drunk.
Like there'll be times where like, there's like a couple times the last couple of years where like, we like threw a party or like whatever. We had a New Year's or like the whatever, Halloween or whatever, like just a random night. Yeah, let's let loose. Let's have a few. Yeah. And like hearing one of my friends like talk about like something I was like doing the night before, I was like, bro, like,
you cringe.
It's like, bro, I don't want to be that guy, bro. Like,
I literally can't think of a worse anxiety than talking about something you did when you were drunk. It is the worst anxiety because it's like a version of you did something, a version of you that's not you did something that you don't approve of.
And it
feel horrible about it.
Back to your point earlier, it drifts from what you want, from what your identity is. It pulls you away from that completely. And then you're just thinking about it for like however long after. Different for everybody, I guess.
Bro, but that's another huge advantage to, like, I keep hearing you reference, like, people have these thoughts or like, the thoughts push me into drinking more, into feeling a certain way. Bro, the best part about being surrounded by people who love God is that they don't, and I don't want to say this because, or I want to put a caveat, is that just because someone says they're Christian or Catholic doesn't mean that they live that way at all.
Yeah.
But people who genuinely follow it.
That's me. Straight up.
And thank you for admitting that.
I'm raised a Catholic kid, and if someone asks me, I'll tell them I'm Catholic. But do I go to church? No.
But those people who really have Jesus in their heart, they will not judge you. Matthew 7:2, for in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. With the measure you use, it will be measured to you. They won't judge you. They will push you to hold you accountable. They'll hold you accountable to the way you treat people, to how you work. They're not going to hold you accountable to getting drunk or smashing chicks. Like, and those are really, I mean, you're clearly into fitness. You're about to run an Ironman, which we should dive into in a second.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, if you want to see a lot of crosses like this, walk into a gym. Fitness and faith, 2 in 1. Entrepreneurship and faith,